Hello, uh, I'm happy to actually make another video and hope that I will continue to be consistent. Right now I've just eaten breakfast and I've read in my Bible Matthew chapter 26. And it's quite a long chapter. It's like it starts on this page and then it's all over these 2 pages and then basically all of this page. So really long chapter, so hard to go through everything. So I just wanted to pick out some things that I noticed about the chapter. So yeah, the first thing I noticed is the first thing it's written about. It's about the woman who came in to the house in Bethania. It talks about how Jesus was in the house of Simon in Bethania, and a woman came in and she had this, not like jar, I don't know the English name, but a really expensive oil. She broke the jar or the vase that the oil was in, and then she poured it on over Jesus' head and not his feet. So she poured it over Jesus' head, and then the disciples, they were mad. They said, "Whoa, this oil is so expensive, you could have given it to the poor." But Jesus says that you shouldn't get angry because she did the right thing. And he says, the poor you always have with you, but me you won't have here forever. And then he says in like the last verse of this short passage, he says that, "I tell you, wherever in the world that this gospel is told, shall what this woman did be told as a memory of her." So, and I found that really interesting. He says that wherever the gospel is shared, what she did will be told. And I found that interesting because I've heard the gospel many times, but I've never heard the gospel with her incorporated in it. So what does that mean? What does it mean that when Jesus says that wherever the gospel is shared, she will be spoken about? And I don't know the answer because I've just read this, just noticed it, but I thought about it, and I think it has something to do with what Jesus says before. Like I told you, Jesus says that she did the right thing, that the poor you always got with you, but me you won't always have, right? So I think it has something to do with her heart in seeing how Jesus is holy, seeing how Jesus is worthy. And then because he's worthy, he deserves this, and giving him what he deserves, basically. I think that's part of it, that her story shows someone who has realized God's holiness and realized, or Jesus' holiness and Jesus' worthiness. And in that way, she is a witness to other people in how to act towards Jesus. And this is, of course, it's a really integral part of the gospel, because the gospel, gospel means good news, and you won't have good news, can't have good news if there ain't bad news beforehand. And the bad news is that we are imperfect and we live under a perfect God, right? And this shows that she realized how Jesus was this perfect God, how he was worthy, how he was holy, and that he deserved this. I think that has something to do with it. That it's her actions, her motives, because the Bible talks so much about motives for things. This is something the Jews, like the Pharisees in the Bible, got totally wrong when they always try to follow the law dot by dot, point by point. The law says this, we have to follow this, but their heart wasn't in the right place. But then Jesus comes later and he says, actually, if you just follow the law, that ain't enough. Like, before it was, don't sleep with anyone that's not your wife. And then Jesus comes and says, if you even look at a woman with lust, that's a sin. Even if you don't have to hit or kill a person. If you call someone an idiot, that's a sin. And it's like, what? Then of course it makes sense, because where does your heart lay? If you go around thinking everyone is an idiot and you go around hating everyone, then yeah, maybe you're not killing them, but where is your heart, bro? Right? So where your heart is, and this woman's heart was definitely in the right place. So but this is something I think I'll meditate a bit on, think about this. How can I incorporate this into how I preach the gospel, and what does this mean? Because God, like Jesus clearly says here, that her story will be told. Where the gospel is shared, her story will also be shared. So that's really interesting. That's the integral part of the gospel. That's what I've come to now, and I'll share with you if I get any other revelations about what this might mean.